Happy Monday! Today we're going to read about a little about ants, and you're going to have this shared reading for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, okay? So let's read to find out. So if you want to get your shared reading, a little about ants, I'm going to read it to you, okay? And then I'm going to read all the questions for the next 3 days. A Little About Ants by Mimi Jorling. There are lots of different kinds of ants: carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. There are different colors too. They can be red or brown or black. Some are very, very small and some are rather big. Whatever their differences though, all ants are social creatures. They live in large groups called colonies. Some ant colonies are big and have millions of ants. There are different types of ants in the colony, and they each have different jobs. The queen lays eggs. Soldier ants protect the queen and the colony. They also gather food and attack other colonies if they need new nesting space. Worker ants take care of babies, look for food, and build ant homes, ant hills, or mounds. Soldier and worker ants are female. Male ants' only job is to mate with the queen in order to produce eggs, which hatch into baby ants. Ants are busy little insects. It's easy to see them moving quickly here and there. Sometimes you can see them carrying a small piece of something or dragging part of a leaf somewhere. Sometimes you even see two ants helping each other carry the same crumb. But where are they going and what are they doing? Ants may seem to just be running around, but they are actually important parts of their ecosystem, their world under our feet. One thing ants do to help their ecosystem is to keep soil healthy. By constantly digging through the soil, they create spaces in it. Soil needs space inside it for air and water. Without air and water in the soil, the tiny creatures that live in soil would not survive. Ants also help bring nutrients to soil. When they bring food particles to their nests, they add nutrients to soil because they don't eat everything they bring. Their leftovers stay in the soil and break down into nutrients for other creatures living in the soil. That is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday's questions are right here, and it's questions 1 through 4. Okay? It says, according to the text, what are social creatures that live in large groups called, what are social creatures that live in large groups called colonies? Are they ants? Are they flies? Are they grasshoppers or beetles? Which social group of insects live in colonies? Question 2. What does the author describe in the first paragraph? So you would go back to the very first paragraph. Is it A, the importance of ants to their ecosystem, B, the ways in which ants keep soil healthy, C, the food that ants bring to their nests, or D, the jobs done by ants in a colony? All things discussed, but which one was discussed in the first paragraph? Question 3. Ants are busy insects. What evidence in the text supports this conclusion? A, ants move quickly from one place to another. B, male ants' only job is to mate with the queen. C, some ants are very, very small and some are rather big. D, ants can be red or brown or black. Okay, which of these examples says how ants are busy insects? Okay. Question 4. Read these sentences from the text. Ants may seem to be just running around, but they are actually important parts of their ecosystem, their world under our feet. One thing ants do to help their ecosystem is to keep soil healthy. By constantly digging through the soil, they create spaces in it. Based on this information, what can you conclude about where the ecosystem of an ant is? Is it A, the ecosystem of an ant is in the ocean, B, the ecosystem of an ant is in the air, or C, the ecosystem of an ant is in the soil, and lastly, D, the ecosystem of an ant is in the desert? Okay, that's Monday's questions, okay? Tuesday's questions are 5, 6, and 7. What is the main idea of this text? The main thing that the author wants you to take away from this. A, ants can be red, brown, or black. B, ants are important parts of their ecosystem. C, soil needs space inside it for air and water. Or D, sometimes two ants help each other carry the same crumb. All of these are facts that are in this story. The author gave you every piece of this information, but only one is the main thing that the author wants you to take away from this. Question 6. Read these sentences from the text. Whatever their differences, though, all ants are social creatures. They live in large groups called colonies. Some ant colonies are big and have millions of ants. What does the author probably mean by writing that ants are social creatures? A, ants are creatures that help their ecosystem. B, ants are creatures that like to spend time with their friends and family. C, ants are creatures that work hard and carry things. And D, ants are creatures that live together in groups, okay? So social, okay? So think about social. Think about if you hear people talking about social media, the way that people are being social, what we're doing as a classroom being social with one another, okay? So think about that. Question 7. Read the sentence from the text. There are lots of different kinds of ants. Carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. How could this sentence be rewritten without changing its meaning? A, there are lots of different kinds of ants, including carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. B, there are lots of different kinds of ants instead of carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. C, there are lots of different kinds of ants. Finally, carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. Think about that. Does that make sense? The finally in the middle of it? C or D. There are lots of different kinds of ants. Next, carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, sweet ants, fire ants, and many more. Think about the sequential words that they're throwing in there, and does that make sense to our text? Lastly, for Wednesday, your 3 questions are 8. What do worker ants do? Include 3 pieces of information from the text. 3 things that a worker ant does. Question 9. Explain how ants help bring nutrients to the soil. Support your answer with evidence. Ants help bring nutrients by, and go back in there and say. And question 10. Explain how worker ants help their ecosystem. Support your answer with evidence. Again, all of these you would go back in the text and do that. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.